Hey, and good morning. Welcome to my channel, Soul Coach Studio. I'm Soul Coach Michelle, and I'm so thrilled to see you here today. So, welcome to the Messy Bun Manifesting weekly live stream and replay. So, this week, y'all, I'm just gonna fess up and say that if I seem a little flighty, it's the Lionsgate energy, Venus retrograde, all the stuff. If you're watching this in what day? Is it August 8th? Yeah, because happy Lionsgate portal. Um, and so I'll speak to that a little bit. But I try to keep these timely. So I'll just about that a little bit, only because I've gotten so many emails, so many texts and Voxer messages and things. Everybody is having a wonky time, and it really depends. And it's not just the Lionsgate portal. That portal is really inviting us to step into what we want. Like Leo is all about, here's what I want, here's how I'm going to shine out to the world. It's almost like the Leo. It's like the happy is happiest when they are, on front and center stage, spotlight on them, and they're happy and stuff. But when you're kind of introverted, which a lot of folks tend to be, especially if they're healers or stuff like that. There's not a lot of folks that are in the woo community a lot of times. I mean, there's some, I know some that love being seen for their stuff. So, but right now it's like, how do I show up? People think I'm so extroverted because I show up every week and I do live streams and I've sung in front of 30,000 people and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I recharge as an introvert. So that whole what do I want, how do I want to show up and receive it, and all that kind of stuff, that in itself is there. And then the energy between the 3D and the any dimensional level and source energy, the oneness, that is a really thin line right now. And so there's a lot of energy to heal and come in and raise up and out, whether it be conscious, subconscious, or conscious stuff. Stuff will be shining a light yesterday, today, tomorrow on a lot of stuff, a lot of your shadow stuff, because to show up and be visible in the things that we want, and you don't have to be somebody like me that shows up on YouTube or whatever. You could be you go to your day job and you do painting on the side, or you've always wanted to do painting. Now is the time to say, you know what, I always wanted to do that. Let me get it. So if you're thinking about that kind of thing, but there's always whenever we think, I really have always wanted to do that. And a lot of times there's shadow shit that comes up around that when we start taking steps towards that stuff. So just be mindful of that. Allow it to come up, okay? Because I've heard people saying, they're wonky, they're noticing things in their loved ones. That's also coming up. That's, when you notice stuff that you're witnessing other people have a hard time, you sometimes have a hard time because you want them to be okay. And it's really all about how you're not doing well with their not being okay stuff. So all of that kind of thing. So with that going on, that's Lionsgate. We have Venus retrograde. We have Saturn retrograde. We have and Mercury shadow, pre-retrograde shadow, Pluto retro. I listed them all out last couple of videos ago. You can also go to my blog at soulcoachstudio.com, and the blog post called, I think it's thriving through retrogrades, or where is it? Leveraging retrogrades. Let me see really quick. So if you go to soulcoachstudio.com, which I'm doing, and you look at your blog, go to the blog thing in the menu, and it says Astro Hacks for woopreneurs, navigating retrogrades fearlessly in your business. It's not just for business people. I have all of the retrogrades listed out for the second half of 2023. I am a weirdo, and I love me some retrogrades, even when they're challenging, because usually at the other side of all of them, you come out and you're like, oh, I healed so much. I'm so grateful, blah, blah, blah. If we lean in, that's a choice too. We all have the choice to lean in, because you might see your shadow shit and be like, oh, no, I ain't doing this. So, but if you choose to, that's why we have Celestial Soul Circle, because we do our new moons, our full moons, and it's all about releasing, planting seeds, setting intentions, all that kind of stuff. And I think on Thursday, on the 10th of August, 2023, we are having our pop-up for the Celestial Soul Circle, which is nurturing the light leader within you, is the goal of that. But we do new moon circle, full moon circle. And this week we're doing a pop-up workshop about the 3 places that you need to focus on in your business to be of service to your peeps. But I also am probably going to be touching on all of this stuff because everybody has been a chattering in the group about how that's showing up for them. And I want to do some clearing and energy charging for my peeps. So if you want to be part of that, go to Soul Coach Studio, click on the Celestial Soul Circle membership, and check out that page. It's $97 a month, and you get the 2 moon circles and a pop-up workshop in the months and some other stuff and access to online content and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to check that out, cool. Anyways, today we're going to talk about, and I'm using my notes because, again, feeling kind of wonky with the energy. The energy has been like just wonky AF, y'all. So I don't want to forget anything. I'm feeling kind of spacey. I even did like a total grounding for wins, all the business this morning. And it's like when I'm in it, I'm good, but I still feel spacey. But I'm keeping my notes. So if you see me looking off to the side, that's what that's from. So today we're going to talk about kaleidoscope of success. And the reason I call it that is because everyone's success looks different. Everyone's abundance is different. Like the diversity in people's abundance, I don't think is accounted for in the manifesting coach space. And I want to talk about that because at the end of the day, yes, I'm a co-creative life coach. I am like a woopreneur support person, and I'm your friendly neighborhood super woo. That's what I do. My goal is to help you opt out of corporate America. But then on top of that, what I found, and what in talking to other fellow woopreneurs that have also opted out and started their own businesses, whether it be a full-time thing or a side hustle on its way to a full-time thing, it's interesting to see how that corporate America programming has kind of bled into how we choose to run our business until we become conscious of it, and then we can choose not to. So I want to talk really quickly about a couple of things. First of all, the manifesting coach space is rife. I love that word. It came into my remembrance last night when I was watching something. I was like, ooh, I'm going to use that word. This space is rife with people telling you that if you don't want to, like, well, they're not literally telling you, but how they present, like that money and all that comes with money and manifesting money is the only way to manifest your best life. And quite frankly, I'm going to call BS on that because I think we all know happiness is an inside job. Happiness, joy, it's all first of all, it's your birthright, okay? And the reason we don't tap into it a lot of times is because it's been programmed out of us. Like if the news every night has nothing but the opposite of joy, beauty, peace, and happiness. Okay. So every day that's being, and when you go to an office where you are graded on like basically a black and white thing, you are either in or out. If you didn't reach this particular goal, you're out. Like you didn't get it. Versus saying, you did a really good job. And since the goal was not technically in your control, you checked all the boxes you were supposed to do. But because you didn't get this one, all that is washed away. And that is something that I call bullshit on too, because it makes everyone feel like they're not enough. Like talk about programming. So between being told that if you have more than enough, if you have all this money and you can rent a house on the beach and drive a sports car and all this other stuff, and that will make you happy. I want to dispel that because that's not my idea of abundance. I have clients where I have one client and she calls her house that she purchased during our, our coaching journey together. She has purchased a house that she loves. She calls it the castle because it has turrets and it's super cute and she loves it. Now I have other clients that sold everything because their idea of abundance is to do the nomadic lifestyle. I have another client that sold everything and now helps people build retreats. I mean, these are people that had corporate jobs that went off and did their things because their idea of abundance was not the programming that happened. So think of it this way, like our programming is get a job, pay all the money, buy a house of this kind in this school district or this area, buy these cars. And I bought into this. I totally bought into this. I bought into it when I was working in corporate law, and it was like I had to have the house in the right neighborhood. We had two German cars in the driveway. Now at the time it was a B and blah, 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 Mini Cooper. And by the way, Mini Coopers are super cute. I'm not down on Mini Coopers. I loved it when I could drive it, but they kind of just are always in the shops and everything's 1,000. You get brakes $1,000. And I just got to the point where I was like, I am not loving this car, but because all the other paralegals had one, I had to have one too. Now, yes, we have two German cars in the driveway, but I love mine. Mine's a little Beetle. I call her Glinda. She has a Dolly license plate. I love her. And it's more about me enjoying her versus um taking on this Mini Cooper that like I had just because other people had it. I had the clothes that other people. We all shopped at a certain store. I mean, it was like this programming, and now, mm-mm, just opting out of that, it feels so much better. Engaging your success on your type of abundance and how you're stepping towards it is way more important than trying to figure out how you can have all the abundance that other people think you should need or should have, and then trying to step to that. So first things first, when you do your vision boards, I want you like, and here's another thing that's really interesting. When somebody asks you what you want, it's such a small question, but it brings up so much stuff. Because a lot of times people will say, I want this for my kids, for my partner, for this other, versus I want this for me. Because that also brings up enoughness, deservability, and stuff like that. So I want you to, but during this August 7th, 8th, and 9th, this week, it's a really good time to kind of have that. It's going to bring it up anyway. So if you can flow with it, think of it. I'm in a canoe. I'm rowing with the current versus I'm trying to row against the current, which makes it all feel worse. So maybe make a list of things that you want. What does your abundance look like for you? Like really get clear on that and take some time. Like maybe set aside 30 minutes, set a timer, light a candle, get you a cup of tea, a glass of wine, whatever your jam is. And really just what do you want? Not what's good for your kids or your partner or your grandma or whatever, or what your parents wanted for you. None of that. What do you want? And write that down. Okay. And understand that that's not going to look different than most of the people we follow, like social influencers that talk about manifesting. It's going to look different from your friend who also practices manifesting. Okay. So, with all that in mind, I kind of want to speak to also ideas of success. Oh, wait, one more thing beforehand, like to give an example, because I'm going to come back to this. This is why I have to, and I'm again my notes. So when I teach manifesting, because like I just said, here's what everybody else is. Let me explain what I do. When I teach manifesting, um, it's much more along the lines of I teach an umbrella concept, and then we find something that works for you under that umbrella concept. Because, like I said, everyone is different. The core of how you do things to get your energy in that soul aligned space so that you can manifest the things that you want is relatively the same. So, like in my book, I wrote a book called 7 Steps to Manifesting Your Dream Life, a practical guide to the law of attraction. It's on Amazon, has a little hand holding up a ball or whatever. Anyways, and you can find it on my website. But anyway, in that, like for example, step one is getting centered. Now, meditation can be challenging for everyone, and getting centered doesn't necessarily mean meditation. It could mean anything that helps you focus in the present moment. So cooking, anything artistic, anything creative. And there's like 4 bazillion ways to meditate. There's transcendental, there's guided, there's music, there's walking, yoga nidras. Like that's what I'm saying about this. So you have this umbrella of abundance or getting centered, right? And then there's all these things underneath it that you can find that work for you, but the concept is the same. That's what I'm trying to get at as far as like abundance is the concept. What does it look like for you? What do you want? That's what it is. And so we also have this like we're either in or out, pass, fail kind of thing about success. And I want to clip that one too. So in corporate, a lot of times, like I said, it's like, here are your goals for the year. And if at the end of the year you don't meet that goal, it doesn't matter if you only missed it by like 1%. You didn't meet the goal and you're just bad. And a lot of times that pass failness is detrimental to our idea, our well-being, because it makes us feel bad when somebody doesn't even acknowledge the effort. So if you are either working for someone else, or you're, especially because you're working for yourself, because you want to make sure we shift that consciousness, shift that idea of what is success, what does it look like. So most corporate stuff is, there's lag and there's lead. Now leads are not the same as like sales leads, so I'm going to clarify that too. So the majority of people's success ideas come from lag, which is usually the ROI, return on investment, or how many people showed up in your funnel, or like, did you meet the goals that the company set for you? And those goals, like that lag, is the results. Lead is the work towards the results. So say, like YouTube, we'll use YouTube because we're here. So say YouTube, I want to have 1,000 subscribers by December. And, you know, in the old way of thinking, if by January 1st I'm looking and I have 999 subscribers, I did not meet that goal. Naughty me, right? That's the way it would be beforehand. If you missed it by one, naughty you. But what I want you to stop doing is that pass or fail, on or off, success business. Success is really about lag, or rather lead. Lag is the other. Lead is the work you put in, the credit you give yourself for that, which is, wow, I was visible. I did a live stream weekly. I started doing, like, and I'm using the YouTube example. I did a live stream weekly. I did, this many shorts, or the little 1 minute videos. I invited people regularly to subscribe to my channel. So if you are here and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. If you are a subscriber, share it with friends, because sharing is caring. Oh, good morning, Sharon. How are you? And can you hear me okay? Because I have these new, like, the earbud things in, so that don't have wires. So I just want to make sure it sounds okay. So since you're here, go ahead and if you want to type in, let me know. Can you hear me? Whoever's here. So what I was saying was, in that lead time, that work towards the goals. To me, if we're going to frame it up in manifesting ideas, it's the inspired action. Okay. So like that list of what you want, that list of things that are your unique abundance. What are some things that you would do to step towards them? Like, we're not going to sit around and ponder the, how am I going to get X dollars to do this? It's more like, oh, well, if I need a website, what can I do with my skill set? Or, depending on what you got going on, what do I need to do there? So we'll use the YouTube example all the way through, because I think it's easier, well, at least for me, since I'm teaching this. So some of the things I could do, like I said, is continue to do the weekly live stream, figure out what 1 minute videos look like for me, so I can add those to my YouTube, like, to generate more people, inviting folks. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Finding folks to subscribe, and then asking those to invite friends to subscribe if they like the message. Like, showing up, that's your lead time. Like, your what am I doing to take inspired action towards this? And when you do those things, what'll happen is the trickle down, the side effect of that is the lag, which is the success model. But the fact is that you're going to look at it from a different perspective. Okay. You're going to look at it from the perspective of, I'm not going to try and, yeah, my goal is 1,000 subscribers. However, by December 31st, if I have, like, I think I have like 600 some odd people right now. If I have even just 700, I'm going to give myself some credit, because I showed up. I did so I'm giving myself credit for my lead work, taking my inspired actions. And then also, much like Sharon said here, it's all about being in the energy. It is all about being in the energy. So you're doing your inspired action, and you're working on your mindset, where your energy is, how you're embodying things, that kind of stuff. That inspired action is going to help you bring about the manifestation to get to that goal or that intention that you're setting. And when we are doing that work, and sometimes it may take baby steps, it may take 2 seconds, and it really depends on what you're doing. But again, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So there's no, like, blame, shame, guilt about, I should have been there faster. Take that out of your equation. Okay. So to me, what success looks like and what abundance looks like really depends on who you are, what you want, and knowing that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, looking for the things you want. Like, and whatever that is, whether it's a tiny home or a castle, is irrelevant to anybody but you. Because if you're going to follow somebody around that is like, I want a Lamborghini, blah, 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 and you're looking at that going, oh, that person, if I hang around and I make $1 million, then I'm going to be happy. But happiness is an inside job. Happiness comes from looking inside and doing the work. And that's why this Lionsgate is really big, because it's a healing portal, which is also why it doesn't feel so great. And all the retrogrades, which are also healing portals. So we have a lot of this kind of crazy energy right now that is actually, if we get in our little canoe, our little energy canoe, and we row with the energy, which doesn't always look like glitter and crystals, but it is worth it. I'm going to encourage you to do that. So some of the things I want to encourage you to do, so we kind of have gone over, like, abundance, my abundance and your abundance is going to be different. It just is, because we're not the same people. And that's okay. Your abundance and somebody teaching like how to make $1 million abundance is going to be different. It might be along the same lines. Like, if somebody, if this 1.55, which reminds me, I'm going to go get me a lotto ticket, inspired action, right? Go get me a lotto ticket for this $1.55 billion lotto, just to, have some fun with it. And sometimes, that the pure potential energy of it is fun to think about, and just go out and do that kind of stuff. But the funny thing is that if I won that money, I probably would do different things than you would do with it. I mean, it's just because our abundance ideas are different. And that's okay. That's number one. Number two is, success is not dependent. Your worth, your value is not dependent on if you meet this goal by this day. And if you don't, if you get 99.9% there, but you miss it, we are out. That business is not how success works in my book. My book is, you know what? You got 99.9% of the way there, and that's something to be commended. If you even got 1% of the way there, it's to be commended, because everybody's journey is different. How they step towards their intention and what comes up for them while they're doing that, because it's all lessons, it's all a journey, is going to be different. So doing something, I formed my corporation this past week, or this past 2 weeks ago, and I had a couple of other clients do the same thing, and their funding of their accounts went super smooth. My funding of my accounts was like a cluster mess. So, and that's, again, energy. But how and there was a lesson there. They didn't have that lesson, but I did. For what, that lesson of like navigating the stress of that, navigating what was creating that, and then why is it happening, and asking for help and being okay with that. Where, I had a shift on Friday. I remember I was just like, oh my Lord, what the F is going on? Because I was promised by the bank that it would be able to function a certain way, and they were able to do certain things. Well, I moved all the money there, and come to find out, the minute I needed to do something, they couldn't do what they promised they could do. And so then I had to move it again, which put like a week worth of everything behind in getting stuff done. And now it's causing a little bit of reverb challenge. So in that day, and it was really funny, y'all, because what happened was I went to pull the money out of the bank to move it on Friday to the new bank, and their system was down. They couldn't even process a cash withdrawal. So, and I just was like, so the universe is telling me to go home and figure out where else I can find joy. So I went home and I did it, and I felt better the whole weekend. And then yesterday came, and I marched my happy butt over to the one bank. They were perfectly great. Everything was fine. Went to the new bank. They were fantastic. Everything was fine. And now I'm just waiting for everything else to kind of fall into place, like when you open your bank accounts. So it's really about being in your awareness and giving yourself credit. So I was like, yay, I still opened my LLC. It's all funded properly now, and everything is working well. Like, knowing that that's where my success is. It's like, is it perfect? No. Is it working? Yes. Did I learn something? Yes. Success. Do you see what I mean? Giving yourself credit as you do things, because we're at different, some people might think they're jumping over a puddle, and other people might think they're jumping over an ocean, but either way, you give yourself credit. period, because it's credit worthy. And that also reminds you when you are successful about things. So here's a simple process I want to share with you that helps me so that you can kind of, first of all, figure out what your abundance looks like and then figure out your success plan. And again, success is not, I reached all my goals, check, check, check. It's more about, where was I productive? Where did I show up for myself to keep the commitments I made to make those intentions, those manifestations happen? So the first thing is, we need to know, what do we want? Which is, again, a big, big question, because it sounds little, but it's big. I mean, have you ever been to a restaurant that has 1,000 things and they all look great and you want 7 of them, but you can only pick the one, right? So it can be a challenge even when it's mundane. But when it's, what do you want? And you say to yourself, here are the rules. The rules are, you can't want stuff for your kids. You can't want stuff for your partner. You can't want stuff for your grandma or your parents. You can't want stuff that your parents or somebody else wanted for you. You have to sit there and think to yourself, what do I want? What do I want? And then brain dump that. Just brain dump it. And then when you're done, and you might want to set a timer for like 5 minutes so that you keep going. But if you end early, just say to yourself, am I complete, or is there more? And you might find some more. Just keep that question going until you are like, yep, I'm complete. Then look at your stuff that you wrote down. And maybe they fall under an umbrella concept. Like, say you have the YouTube thing. So I want 1,000 subscribers. And then I want to make sure that I'm doing some other promotion or something. And maybe I want to start another show. But that all fall that might be 3 things on the list, but they all fall under the YouTube stuff. So clumping your stuff into concepts, into little columns, or you kind of look at them in circle. These 3 go under this, right? And then pick one of those concepts so that you're not trying to pick all of them at the same time. Pick one of those concepts, and then maybe one of the things underneath it, and say, how do I need to show up to make that happen? Or better wording, how do I need to show up to walk towards that I want? What are some things I can do? Not how do I get this done and how do I push it, because we want to make sure this is co-creation. The universe will be there, but I need to step and lean in so the universe knows that I mean business. So where can I step up and lean in on each of these things so the universe knows I mean business, and I work with the universe, co-create towards my stuff. And then the last thing that I want to kind of share, and that is, be curious. Be really curious. So if you're doing something and you bump up against frustration, you bump up against something not working, be curious and say, where in my energy am I blocking this? And then maybe do some clearing around that. Cord cutting, clearing, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And lastly, I do want to celebrate. I want you to celebrate your difference. I want to celebrate your uniqueness, the diversity that you bring to the table, that your abundance and my abundance aren't the same. Your creativity and my creativity aren't the same. This kaleidoscope of beautiful energy that we chose to participate in as coming into this 3D experience, everyone's birthright is bliss and joy and blessing and love and happiness and all that kind of stuff. But how we show up and do it is that kaleidoscope. And that's the success. That's the abundance. All of that. How we do it as individuals and share those gifts with the world. I remember this quote, and I forget who said it, but I've always loved it, is God gives us all gifts. Universe gives us all gifts. And how you share those gifts with others, the world, is your gift back to the Creator. So, especially right now, with us being in Lionsgate Portal, where we kind of are deciding, what do we want? And really just leaning into that and showing up and shining for that. That's what yesterday, today, and tomorrow are about. And again, it's not just timely, if you're watching this in 2025 or whatever, it's not totally about just this time frame, because every year there's a Lionsgate. And you might have, seeds planted and intentions and inspired actions going on, and it's the middle of April in 2026 or something. But remembering the difference of what your abundance and my abundance looks like is okay. Remembering that success is not about the results. Really, it is about giving yourself credit for the effort you're putting in, and being curious. Because so if you don't get the results you want, get curious, not blamey or shamey. Get curious and be like, hey, what else can I do? Is there something else that I can do to step and lean in a little bit more? Or is there something I need to heal within me, or some energy I need to clear within me that is where I'm bumping up against these things? Okay. So that's it for today. I hope this was helpful. Happy Lionsgate if you're watching in August of 2023. I hope this week is wonderful for you. Again, if you are part of the Celestial Soul Circle, I will see you Thursday for our pop-up workshop. If you want to be part of the Soul Circle, go ahead and visit my website, which is soulcoachstudio.com, and check out the tab in the menu bar. And that's about it for today. I appreciate you so much. Oh, really quick, if you are watching in August of 2023, on Saturday, which is, I think, the 12th. Let's see, really quick, the 12th. Yes, this Saturday, the 12th, I will be at Aroma G's from 3 to 7, and that's in Nashville. So if you need a reading or you want to come say hi, that's where I will be. But other than that, I will see the Soul Circle, Celestial Soul Circle on Thursday, and I will see if you are going to come visit me at Aroma G's. I'll see you guys on Saturday. But other than that, this is it for the week. I love you so much. Remember, your abundance is your abundance. Your success is your success. Celebrate all of that wonderful kaleidoscope and beauty that is you. And take care of yourself. Love yourself. I love you so much. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, guys.